Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 14 of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing weekly gaming podcast from the Goodnight Groofs. That's us. My name is Matt, and today I'm joined by Paul, Josh, and Mike. Went the reverse route this week, changing things up a little bit. Let's get right into it. Guys, instead of asking you how you're doing this week, I want to ask everyone what their peak of the week has been. Paul, what is the best thing that happened to you this week?
Well, that is a great question there, Matt. You know what? I have not done a whole lot this week. It's been raining, kind of crappy, but I will say, I think the top of my week this week has been that I've had more time to play some games and different games. I've been trying some different stuff out on Game Pass, playing some indies and some different stuff. I'll get more into what I've been playing in the Watercooler, but specifically, I gave a shot to a game that I wasn't 100% sure I'd enjoy at all, and I actually been having a pretty good time. And also going back into the deep catalog and just filling my Xbox with some indies on Game Pass, and I'm excited to play them all. I've actually had some time to sit down. I mean, I have time normally anyway, but I end up just loading up Fortnite, so it's been a lot of fun to try some different stuff out this week. So yeah.
Sweet. Looking forward to hearing about it more around the Watercooler.
You bet.
Josh, what is the best thing that happened to you this week, sir?
It's today, actually, because I stepped outside and holy shit, it feels like fall again, boys.
Yeah,
It's no longer like 85, 90, 95 degrees. August was hot as shit here in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Now it feels like a beautiful. I walked outside, it was 65 degrees. It was 75 when I got off work. I rolled the windows down, music blasting. God damn, I was on cloud nine. Easy peak this time, baby.
Interesting. I thought you were going to go the Halo Infinite Invite route.
You know, that is cool, but I'm a sucker for fall weather.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually noticed that too here. That was my second choice, is I just went for a little walk outside and it was cool. Like, I feel like I almost needed a jacket on my sweater because I'm in Canada, it's a little cooler, maybe like a 60, 55 something. It is beautiful. It is lovely outside. And there's leaves on the ground and orange everywhere. I'm with you, Josh. I'm really with you. I'm so happy. It's been taking a while. It's been hot up until like today.
And I like how this is mostly a gaming podcast, and I come at it a really good gaming peak of the week, and I'm like, you know what, we need to talk about the fucking weather.
You know what? I appreciate that though. That's why I like the peak of the week though. It gives us a chance to talk about something else. Of course, many times for us, the peak of the week does end up being around gaming. But I like your pick. I'm a big sucker for fall weather too. Let's bring on the Halloween season, I say.
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
Never too early.
Mike, what about you? What was the best thing that happened to you this week?
Sometimes too early, Paul.
No, January. Finish needs roll.
My peak of the week, I'm gonna take the Jay Cooper E approach. Michigan's 3-0. That's pretty nice. Going into Big Ten play this week.
Who you got this week?
That's it.
That's baseball, right? That's baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically baseball. The baseball where you have the egg-shaped ball. And
backyard baseball.
Roughly, yeah.
The backyard sports games were goated.
Yeah, exactly.
In the words
they
of,
were so
of
good.
Josh.
Yeah.
Yep.
My peak of the week is the fact that our first game review is going to be coming out soon. That's courtesy of Mike's Deathloop review. And then there's also other exciting stuff in the works right now. So there's a lot going on in Groofdom. And I'm excited about it. It's sort of my peak of the week. A little behind the scenes. Hopefully we can share more of that stuff pretty soon here. All right, well, let's move on to trending topics. In trending topics, I give our panelists a choice between 3 search terms. They have to tell me which term they think got the most searches over the last 7 days via stats from Google Trends. Play 3 quick rounds. All right, guys. Round 1. Hearthstone, MTG, or Yu-Gi-Oh?
Who the fuck is talking about Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yu-Gi-Oh is weirdly huge. I'm
gonna go with Hearthstone. Just feel the need to.
So sorry, is it MTG or Magic the Gathering?
MTG.
I'm gonna say MTG.
I said MTG.
Okay, yeah. The answer is MTG. It was number one.
They got new stuff coming out.
I think it was, quite far and above Hearthstone and Yu-Gi-Oh. I was a little surprised that it was so far above Hearthstone.
Dude, MTG is goated, as Josh would say. That's the new, as Josh would say, as the children say, it's goated. Shit, sheep.
I'll just stop saying it. You all can say it and just say as I say it. Just take a load off me. It'd be great.
Ba ba. Am I right, folks?
Round 2. Naughty Dog, Insomniac Games, or Quantic Dream?
Insomniac. Why not? No good reasoning for it, but Insomniac.
Insomniac. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Naughty Dog only because I think people might be looking up what to do with their naughty dog, like in real life too. So I'm going for it. Like my dog is naughty, naughty dog tricks.
I will say, so when you search on Google Trends, you can like when you start to type something in, I could search Naughty Dog, or I can search Naughty Dog, and then it'll come up like game development studio or something like that. So you can specifically search for that. Sometimes if I can do it for all three, I do it. If I can't, then I don't. In this case, I did. The winner was Insomniac Games.
Let's go. No Naughty Dogs today, baby.
If Naughty Dog was included for dogs, I would be winning. I know it.
Now, I will say this was a super tight race among all three of them. Kind of surprised Quantic Dream was right up there, pretty much right alongside Naughty Dog.
Everyone's working on Star Wars, right?
They are, yeah.
Yeah.
And round 3, Nintendo Direct, State of Play, or Xbox Showcase?
Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo. I'm going Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, it was Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
It was today, Matt.
It was today. We are recording this right after the Nintendo Direct just happened.
That stunk of Matt trying to trick us.
Well, the searches are over the last 7 days, and it wasn't even announced until yesterday. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
True. 3 for 3, by the way.
Ooh, very nice.
Oh, Mike putting his dick on the table. You love to see it.
For those in the video podcast, you're welcome. And for those in the audio podcast, head over to YouTube.
Oh, you won't find that one on YouTube.
we have a different version uploaded to a different website.
Soon to be seen on X videos. Catch it live.
Rhymes with corn cub.
All right. Let's move on to the big question.
Big indeed.
Oh, right. Yeah, knuckleheads.
During the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation, we witnessed the rise of indies. Sounds a bit ironic, but indies started to become more mainstream. However, this new wave seemed to have come at the expense of AA games. We either saw AAA blockbusters or indies, but the space in between had almost completely vanished. Now, we're in an era in which we're seeing a resurgence of popularity for AA games. Over the last few years on both console and PC, largely thanks to an ever-expanding and more accessible Steam, we've gotten major AA games like Kena Bridge of Spirits, Greedfall, Vampire, A Plague Tale: Innocence, A Way Out, It Takes Two, Kingdom Come: Deliverance, Divinity: Original Sin and its sequel, Biomutant, Psychonauts 2, Cuphead, and so many more. So here's my question. Will this resurrection of the AA space come at the expense of indies, or the high production quality of AAA games incentivizing smaller budgets, or is there room for all sorts of games nowadays? AA games did go away for a reason, but was that due to a growing lack of vision in those games, seeing scores of 6 and 7 all over the place and less critical acclaim, or are we just lucky right now? So I'm going to go to you first, Paul. Are we just lucky right now, or did they go away for a reason? Is this going to come at the expense of indies? What's the situation with AA games in your mind? We discussed this a little bit yesterday on the replay.
Yeah, so we've been talking about that on the replay a little bit, and that's kind of been a long-held view of ours that AA games do seem to be coming back into the zeitgeist here. I will say, I think it's a couple things, like you were saying. I think honestly, we had a lot of developers maybe 10, 15 years ago who were developing, I get, they weren't really AAA games, but developing at the cutting edge or the, of what their games were able to do, stuff like Obsidian, making what they could make at the best of the time. Then it became a point where only, these large publishers and studios could really make AAA games. Now we have what almost could be called quadruple A games that gets, thrown around sometimes for big stuff like, Red Dead Redemption 2 or something like that. And I think, there's a lot of studios now who are getting, especially who are getting purchased up by Microsoft and Sony and things like that, who, obviously have a smaller team and have experience making really great games, but they don't necessarily have the, the funding or the team or anything to make something that's AAA. And so we're seeing, especially because the games companies are owned by big things like Microsoft and things like that, it makes it a little easier for them to make games that maybe come out at $40, $50, whatever, versus the full price of a game. Also the rise of like Steam and PC gaming has made it a lot easier to make games in that kind of mid-range, upper mid-range kind of segment. And also, I think on the flip side, last thing I'll say is just that indie companies are getting more ambitious too. On the flip side, I think indies have, like you said, had this huge wave, this rise of popularity, and I think a lot of those companies now are looking at, okay, I've done my games for the last 2 or 3 years, or 4 or 5, or almost 10 years. Some companies, what's next? What can I do to get to the next thing? Well, I don't really have the budget or the team or the publisher to get to a AAA game, but I could probably make something that comes damn near close or a lot closer. And I for one love it, because I think the AA games hit that almost perfect sweet spot where you're not sitting there. I find a lot of AAA games, I buy them, and I think, was this really worth the price? And is this really, and this also, all this flash, was this necessary in some scenarios? And I think AA hits that like right line between fun and value that is really, really great, and kind of what I think we were brought up on with video games.
Yeah, I want to hit on something that you mentioned. That was really well put, by the way. The whole thing, I really liked it. Specifically on acquisitions, you talked about like Microsoft and Sony and them making acquisitions, but it's also more than that. Like look at Embracer Group, which now has Saber Interactive, THQ Nordic, Koch Media. They have these subsidiaries that are really all AA studios, and so we have them amassing this insane amount of studios, and there are other groups doing this, and that I think is helping to bring AA back. There's this weird area where they feel like they can make money again doing this. And so you have all these groups buying up these studios or buying up old properties. I think we're just kind of in a world now where there's more money to go around than there was 10, 15 years ago. And access to game engines and development resources are cheaper and easier to come by than they ever have been, ever. And because of this, it's almost starting to feel like indie, the title indie, is becoming more of like a genre label than a type of game, like a budget label. It's more of like a genre label almost. And AA is almost really means just bigger budget indie, or an indie that's focusing on the mainstream market instead of what it used to be, which was just smaller budget. So it's sort of, the definition has almost changed. Mike, what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
I kind of echo what Paul's been saying. The fact that all these companies got acquired allows them, more budget to make these games, so they can make AA games when they previously weren't. Same thing with the resurgence of indies.
And not just more budget, but they don't have to be afraid of failure necessarily.
Right, exactly. They've got they have a safety net. Unless you're acquired by EA, then you don't. But with indies having that resurgence and having huge success in the market, it allows them to, just like you said, take bigger risks, make bigger games. And honestly, I feel like there's been a gap in the market that Paul kind of even touched on, where you have your indie game, you have your AAA, and the AAA games have been going more into a full cinematic experience. Like you've got your Spider-Man game, you've got Horizon Zero Dawn. They're all big, flashy experiences where the story itself is like watching a movie, and then there's also gameplay elements. Whereas AA games are more, here's a game, the story is going to be interlaced with the gameplay, but most of the time it's just either strictly a game or strictly a story. You don't really get that cinematic experience from it, which is fine, honestly. For me, I prefer that. It's why I have such an extensive Steam library, because I'll buy them on the cheap. And I think Steam and Game Pass have done more than enough to help the AA games come back into a state of relevance again.
Totally. Josh, what are some of your thoughts on this?
I mean, I think everybody's hit it much more concise than I can, honestly. I think the biggest thing that I would take home is just the fact that I feel like a AA game, while it's not going to have all the flashy effects that Mike mentioned and all the giant cinematic experiences that you're going to get in a game like that, sometimes it's nice to just get on a game and just play the game. Like Hades has this nice little story interlaced throughout, and it's fun and it's great and it's a cool story. The characters are awesome. But at the end of the day, what holds it up is like its core gameplay. And while is Hades technically AA? Is it indie? I really
I'd
don't.
say that fits in that thing like Matt was saying, where it's almost like indie's a genre there, like the quality maybe, but it does have more of like an indie in terms of it's not being like a 3D game. I feel like that AA fits more into 3D games.
Yeah, and that I think that's kind of what I'm getting at.
It was self-published, so it's indie.
Okay, self-published, gotcha. And I mean, I think it's honestly just easier for companies to take on and justify the cost. Because I mean, if it bombs, no big deal. But if like you produce this big blockbuster game and it goes to shit, you've spent all this time and you no longer think the IP is worth it. But with all these little AA games, maybe you want to test the waters with a little bit of IP here and there. Maybe see if maybe the core gameplay is there, and then you build up from it. I think it's good that it's actually making a resurgence, and they're actually buying into it, and the developers see, and well, not only that, publishers see that it's actually worth their time now, as opposed to just people pumping out these almost filler AAA games. Far Cry 4, for example. Just pump it out, give it all the same shit, and then just put this big story around it. Not much has changed, but we got this big story around it. I think there's a lot that you can build off of with the AA title, and I'm glad it's making a resurgence.
I want to ask you guys if you think that some of this might even tap into nostalgia. Now that, we have people our age playing games who used to play the PS1, PS2, GameCube, N64, who have great memories of the games on those consoles. A time where games were simpler. It was just pure gameplay. Do you think it might be tapping into that sort of thing, Paul?
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling a lot. But at the same time, too, I mean, yeah, I guess there is a nostalgia for me to want to play that type of game. Like I've talked many times about like wanting that Banjo-Kazooie experience, back. But at the same time, too, I'm not like I feel like there's a line because there's people who actually go and play, buy an N64 and play those old games and want to have that experience. And that's not really something I'm looking to do. I'm not even really interested in doing like the Switch thing where you buy an N64 controller and play it that way. I don't need it to be an old specific nostalgia experience to that tactile degree. But I do think like with the modern technology we have, the modern graphics we have, the modern physics we have, putting that into a game that's just kind of plain fun with gameplay and less frills is really awesome. So, I mean, maybe there's a nostalgia that I have from just getting in and playing a game and just having like a cartoony fun time with it. But at the same time, too, it's not like I want the games to be old, though. I want to take what we have now and put that into those kind of games. So I think there's something in there for nostalgia and also maybe a point against for me, at least.
Mike, do you have a nostalgia for those kind of games?
I don't know that I would call it nostalgia. I think at this point, like I think about the games that I've bought in the past year, and I know that I bought Miles Morales, I bought PS5, I bought Ratchet and Clank, I bought some other AAA games. And I think the issue is more I just don't have the time for that type of experience. I want to jump in, play for like 20 to 30 minutes, and then I have to either go do something, either work related or group related or life related. Like, I just don't have the time for that. And I want to, but right now I don't. If I was in like high school right now, maybe I would have the time for it. maybe I just come home and that would be what I would do. In fact, I know that's what I would do because I did that, like with Spider-Man 2, the original Spider-Man 2,
Yeah.
which that was a huge game. So I wouldn't call it nostalgia. I would just call it I don't have time.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Every week for like the first 10 episodes of this podcast, I was talking about playing Ghost of Tsushima because I love that game, but it's a massive, massive game and it takes a lot of time. And when you don't have hours to play every single day, it's going to take a little while to get through. I think at the end, by the time I finished all the Iki stuff, it was like 65 hours in that game, which that's a lot of time. That's a lot of time in a single player game. Josh, what about you? I know you're less so on like the classic platformer action adventure stuff, although you like your Jak'n Daxter.
Of course.
Do you think that some of this is nostalgia fueled?
I mean, I think it could be to an extent. I mean, I guess lay out some examples for me, like where nostalgia could certainly be taken over with some of the AA games that are being produced right now.
So I'll say this. For example, I'm playing Kena right now, Bridge of Spirits, and we'll get to it more in the Watercooler. Not too much because I do want to review that game, but it plays very much like it really reminds me of a game that would have been this colorful, simple action Zelda-like game on like a GameCube or something like that.
I got you. I mean, I think to an extent that could certainly be there because I think people are just kind of wanting to keep games simpler. I mean, again, where you can have these, extravagant, huge worlds, why not take it down to basics and just keep it easy? I'd love a new Jak'n Daxter game. Like, just as one example, like, it's a simple, at base, fun, awesome world to explore and collect a bunch of shit. That's the game. That's the game. Story in the background that really is not all that important. It's just kind of there. I mean, you're literally going to go take your pet rat and turn it into a human again. It's like that's that. And that's all you need when the core gameplay is good and fun. So yeah, I mean, I think nostalgia definitely plays into it.
I think part of that is also those games in general coming back, but then like part of the AA resurgence that I mentioned, games like Greedfall and Vampire, heavy RPGs. You look at Plague Tale: Innocence, story based. A Way Out does interesting things with co-op. Same with It Takes Two. Kingdom Come Deliverance, a very innovative, unique medieval, not even fantasy, just medieval RPG. So you see these games in this space that they're doing very different things, and they're not like you mentioned, like your Far Cry or your Assassin's Creed, or let me just list Ubisoft's entire catalog. No, I love Ubisoft, but let's not kid ourselves. The games are very similar from year to year. So they are doing these interesting things, and I think that also has to do with the resurgence, is that we just kind of got people that understood what to do with the money that they had. And it took a little while, and maybe it took game development or at least game engines to get cheaper. It's funny, we talk about the cost of game development rising, skyrocketing, and it is amongst the AAAs, but it's also cheaper than it ever has been to get involved in it. There's just so many varying degrees. You can spend $100 to make a game, or you can spend $100 million to make a game, and the $100 cost game might end up selling more. In this day and age, it's very possible. Possible. I'm sure a game like Terraria, cost maybe tens of thousands of dollars to make, but it has sold way more copies than games that cost $20 million to make. So
Amogus.
Amogus. Yeah. So we're
no shade to the developer. No shade to the developer.
I think part of it is really just the innovation that you see in AA and indie games. It's a space where they can be a little bit more creative and they can take on a little bit more risk because they don't have to answer to the suits, Mm-hmm. So I just think I'm glad that AA is back. All right, let's play Name That Game. In Name That Game, I give the panelists up 10 clues. The clues start off more vague and progressively get more specific. The first panelist to guess correctly wins. You only get one guess. If you're wrong, you're out. We take game title suggestions from our $1 plus supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/goodnight Groofs. All right,
Can
gentlemen.
I quickly get in for a second? I just want
Oh.
to say I listened to last week's Name That Dev, and I just want to
Ooh.
weigh in, Matt, with the negativity here. Just to say once again, I also guessed Bungie, but then you said indie developer, and it fucked my shit up. So I just want to say we were all on that train, and that was a horrible clue, you monster. You're probably right. I'm not saying you're not in a way right, but it's just like
When this came up
there with
earlier,
everyone.
when Josh was talking about Hades and Supergiant, and I quickly looked it up and was like, oh yeah, they're
Sure.
self-published. Yeah, they're an indie. Of course,
Yeah.
at this point, they're a pretty healthy studio, but they're an indie.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, yeah, self-publishing, right? I think that's what we forget. Like you said, indie kind of feels like a genre thing. And when you say indie, you don't think AAA games, but it can be, sort of.
I mean, yeah, Ubisoft self-publishes
Right.
sometimes.
Right. Those are indies. Those are indie.
The great indie Far Cry.
World of Warcraft. Indie game.
Indie. Small indie company.
I will
Blizzard.
say the difference with that, with Ubisoft, is that Ubisoft has their publishing company, and then they have their studios. So it is like they're both named Ubisoft, but it is a little bit. It's the same way that you have Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda Softworks.
Bethesda Softworks. But I will say, WoW is an indie game, right? I mean, by that definition.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, with Activision Blizzard now, I don't know.
Now, but I mean, at launch.
It released as an indie, though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how that works with Vivendi, actually. That would be something to look into. Very boring. Let's play Name That Game.
Yeah, because they had publishing help. Like, they had assistance.
Yeah, they did.
All right, name that game. First clue. First released in 2007. Holds a score of 81 on Metacritic.
Those are always the vague ones.
Released on PC. It was initially published by Atari.
Oh, shoot.
The genre would be considered third-person action RPG.
I'm definitely getting this one.
It received an enhanced edition in 2008 and a director's cut in 2009.
1 year after the other. All right.
1 year after another, yeah.
I'll explain that at the end.
Yeah.
It received sequels in 2011 and 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally supposed to get a console port for PS3 and Xbox 360, but the developer's relationship with the port studio fell through and it was canceled.
Son of a bitch.
This game is based on a series of novels taking place after the events of the books. The developer is based out of Poland.
Witcher.
Ty, yeah, it was The Witcher.
Is The Witcher.
You got there.
So as far as
Shout out to the end boss, the Noon Wraith.
As far as the enhanced edition and the director's cut, so the enhanced edition was the global full edition, complete edition, and the director's cut was only for North America.
Okay.
So
Published by Atari originally.
Initially
That is
published by
something I
Atari.
would not. That's
Jesus
interesting.
Christ.
Really interesting.
yeah,
Was this this was the weird French Atari? I think it was before then, right? before they merged, I think.
I think it was the weird French Atari.
Yeah.
I think Atari was gone by that point, like the original
Yeah.
Atari.
Well, there were a couple Ataris over the years. Anyway, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that. And then obviously self-publishing after that. Although I will say, I think it's another situation like we were just talking about. I think that their publishing house is technically a separate company than their development studio. It's CDPR.
With CD Projekt Red, it is. I think they publish under CD Projekt, right? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
CD Projekt.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes. If anyone listened to TG Replay yesterday, I mastered the name Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz, the lead quest designer from The Witcher 3, and I can't stop saying it. 'cause
He
I'm
just
really
kept
proud of
repeating it
myself.
because he learned it.
Yeah. I was like, sorry, Matt, you're talking about Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz?
All right. Let's take a quick break around the water
By the way, I
cooler.
won.
I don't think so.
Tie.
I'm pretty
Tie.
sure I did.
Tie.
It's a tie. It's like kissing your sister. All right, let's take a quick break around the water cooler. That you
Oh, yeah,
you guys know the saying. You've heard the saying.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
All
Heard
right.
it. I've done it. Hell, brother.
With that accent?
Let's take a quick break around the water cooler to discuss the games we've been playing this week. I'll go first just because it's a very short list. It's a list of one, and then the list is Jak'n, Bridge of Spirits. And I don't want to talk about it too much because I am planning to do a review, but I am liking it a lot. And the whole AA discussion thing, you know, I'm very much in favor of those old school action adventure games, and this really, really feels like that. And it's a lot of fun. It's got a little bit of that AA jank to it at certain times, and that's fine. It is what it is. It's a fun game. It looks really good. The gameplay in general is just really fun. It's like the characters are ridiculously cute, like almost too cute, to the point where it's like, this is a little too much, but it's all right. I like the cute characters. And then you can like, so the little guys that follow you around, you can actually have, I figured you would maybe have like up to 10 of them. No, you can have a ton of them follow you around.
Awesome.
And you can give them these little hats to wear. So I got half of mine right now are wearing these little red mushroom caps, and the other half are wearing these little yellow mushrooms on them. But I also have like a clay pot that they could wear, a clover,
Question,
a
Matt,
bow.
For the costumes, can you pick them? Do you have to do it individually, or can you be like, half of them I want to wear this? And you can just kind of like select them all, like, or do you have to like go to each single?
You
fucking
can
one
you
and,
can
like, change
select
their-
all, but you can also just like,
Okay.
You can set however many. Basically, you set the number of. They're called rot. You set the amount of rot that you want to wear a specific hat, and
Awesome.
you have to purchase each hat individually. But they're only like 10 points, whatever the points are. I don't remember what they are, and you get them all over the place. So
Really, really cool.
very basic upgrade system to like attacks and stuff like that. It's not an RPG, so it doesn't need to have some complicated upgrade system. I'm not looking for that in this game. I'm just looking for just a general simple good time, and that's what it is. Paul, what about you? What have you been playing this week? You teased it a little bit.
I did. So I mean, I've been talking. I'll just say at the beginning because I mentioned it last week on Game Groofs or GG Replay, sorry, and I didn't get to be on that Game Groofs episode because I ended up having something else to do. But I did want to say last week I actually started trying to play The Witcher 3 again. I think maybe for the final time for a long time. I can't do it. I'm with you guys. I just sat down. It's kind of like what you were saying a little bit, Mike. Just that I just don't have the time to sink for that kind of game, and that's not true. I mean, obviously, I'm not super busy. I'll be honest, but like, I find it hard to sit down for like 4 hours and just like sink into that world. I feel like I like when I game a lot nowadays, even if I'm not actually busy with my life, I like having my mind kind of like, you know, play something casual so I can pull away or be able to talk to someone or do something else while I'm playing or pause. And I just feel like that's hard for me with a AAA game with those big deep RPG elements. And also just like, you know, at first there was one of the big negatives I found for me is that, and I'm not going to harp on it, but like I just found it was like very dark at the beginning, and I know it opens up and that stops kind of being the case in some scenarios. Like you can find different things, but a lot of side quests I found were just like pretty gruesome, and that kind of bummed me out. And then I thought, okay, you know, that's a theme. But for me, I think the one thing that's going to keep me from going back to it anytime soon is just it's that we talked about AA, right? And I think Witcher 1, Witcher 2, these are kind of like classic kind of AA feeling games almost.
Eurojank,
and I think The Witcher 3, Eurojank, and I think The Witcher 3, no matter how big you make the game, it's still kind of like an upgraded AA. It's janky as hell.
How fucking dare you?
And they fixed a lot of the jank, and I think you can. I think if you
not
can
wrong.
it's not that kind of thing where it fits you like a glove. It's kind of like the glove's kind of fucked up, and you can figure out how to put your hand in it. You can figure out how to put your hand in it, and it'll keep your hand warm. But it doesn't fit to your hand. You have to fit to it. And I feel like you have to kind of, when you're playing The Witcher 3, you have to get around the way it moves slow or things are not quick to respond. Roach comes flying up, and if I don't press A when I'm near, like facing the right way, he just runs past me. I want it to just kind of like magnet me to him. I don't need to like try to like fucking work with the AI. And I really wanted to ride Roach, which made me bummed out. I had a lot of trouble trying to get on and off of him every time I did it.
All right, I have a quick rebuttal.
Yes.
There we go.
Realism.
So real quick, The Witcher 3 at this point is 6.5 years old, so it is showing age
fine.
because there are games, like specifically like the new Assassin's Creed games, which really try to emulate The Witcher, that just are doing things a little bit better in terms of gameplay now. I won't say that the gameplay in The Witcher 3 is the greatest of all time, but yeah,
Doesn't have to be.
I agree. I agree with you. There is a little bit there that can be off-putting if you're not prepared to sit down and like listen to the story. Now, I will say if you're not super into The Witcher 3 playing the game, I recommend the books. Specifically, the first two novels are compilations of short stories, so it's very easy to just read a short story and then I'll read another one in a couple days. So I do recommend that.
Yeah, I will say Rachel and I watched the Witcher show, and I thought it was fine, but she got really into it, as did you, Matt. I remember we talked about this, and she got pretty into it, and then she bought the books, and I did not read them. She read at least the first two and hated them. So I was like,
Wow.
Okay, well, I guess maybe I'll get to them. We have them, so maybe I'll read them at some point. But yeah, you know what? I like pieces, but I just don't know if it's going to capture me. I think it needs to be a little more whimsical. But I tried. I really did. For you, Matt. And also, moving on from. So speaking of games that have really, fluid, really tactile gameplay that really feels like, you're getting that glove to fit for you. I played a lot of I Am Fish this week. So I'm a really reliable source in terms of having a consistent desire for game controls. I played a solid 5 hours at I Am Fish just yesterday. I just started yesterday and I got deep into it might be a pun. I don't know how that works, but it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. I started playing it because I remember last week when Matt and I first saw it and we were like, hey, this looks like a DreamWorks game or something. It looks so kind of fun and cartoony and then obviously we talked about in a replay yesterday. The reviews came out. The controls were it's I Am Bread, which we didn't realize at the time. The developer from I Am Bread, Bosses Studios. The controls are kind of purposely a little bit janky and difficult to control. But I will say, having played this game, this gave me a lot of that AA classic. It felt like playing something like not a great Nintendo 64 game, like Glover. I hate to harken back to Glover. All the Game Groofs OGs will know, but original Groof, of course. Is that is like if you remember what Glover is, you're having to control this ball, you're moving it around, you're changing the shape. It's kind of awkward. Sometimes the controls move you in different ways a little bit. That's kind of what I Am Fish is, but I actually found that within the constraints of how it's supposed to work, it feels right. A lot of people talked about floaty controls and stuff, but I mean, honestly, when you're in a jar and you're a tiny fish and you're trying to make the jar move on a piece of wood, I think the way I controlled it was pretty tactile. It's just that's a terrible scenario to be in for a fish. So I mean, obviously it's awkward. Obviously it moves weird, but I think they actually, for in the realm of the weirdness, your controls actually felt pretty good. I have only beaten so far the goldfish and the flying fish. I have not gotten to the puffer fish or the piranha yet. But the flying fish is a ton of fun. You as you jump out of the water, you put your wings out and you have this very awkward control to kind of float around and glide through the air and get to other pieces of water. It's actually so much fun. I had to put a TV show on in the background or something because I think I get really frustrated if I was just listening to the music and hearing my fish die constantly, but silently, it was actually pretty fun. I had a great time with that. So that was one of the first things that got me playing, some indies and some kind of colorful, fun games this week. And then I'll also quickly touch on today. Actually, I spent a good few hours playing Katamari Damacy Reroll, which is also on Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. And I will say I've never played a Katamari Damacy game, but weirdly enough, as we've talked about before, I love Holio on on mobile, and I love Paper.io. I like a lot of these games where you get bigger and bigger, or like Slither.io, where you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you kind of grab things and that kind of thing. And so I like this idea with Katamari Damacy. It seems like something I would have played, but I never wanted to go. I never rented it, and I never wanted to go pay $60 for it as a kid. Well, I mean, maybe I was paying, but I didn't want to be please buy this game for me. This is how you get games as a child. But anyway, I now it's Fortnite. Now you just go I want V-Bucks. Anyway, this is my weird, really boomery rant. But the point is, I had a really good time with Katamari. I'm probably a noob here coming to this so late, but the story's hilarious and goofy and just really colorful, and the music is so good, and I'm just having a total blast with my big balls. And I'm really excited to keep playing it, and I'm just having so much fun with these kind of indie AA, colorful, goofy Game Pass games, and I'm full in it. I have a bunch more downloaded, and I'm psyched to continue.
The Game Groofs podcast, where you get a glowing review of I Am Fish and Katamari Damacy, and a critical review of The Witcher 3.
An absolute admonishing of the Witcher 3 for bad controls. The controls aren't very smooth. Now, I Am Fish, on the other hand.
I Am Fish is about the most polyest game that is ever palled. I gotta say,
so true. It's so true.
Josh, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Same old shit. Straight up. I've played some WoW throughout the week. I downed 2 bosses in Bloodborne. I am still struggling like a motherfucker to get through Far Cry 5. It's just that last push. I just gotta I don't know, have a couple
Still
beers.
Going at it.
I just gotta have a couple beers and just sit down and just haul ass through it, basically. Other than that, Guild Wars 2. Exploring 100% in a couple zones here and there.
Wow.
Forget how that's the thing. Guild Wars 2, man. I'm gonna praise a little bit here. Mike,
just a little bit.
Shout out to you. Guild Wars 2 combat. It's a shame that's not in more MMOs. It's unequivocally the best on the market right now, and I think it would stand up to most criticisms in that regard. WoW is obviously clean, it's good, but after I've officially unsubbed from Final Fantasy. I can't take it anymore. It's put me to fucking sleep at this point. But going from that level of combat to where it's just the slowest moves, fucking Methuselah ass combat. It just desperately needs help. Then you go and play Guild Wars 2, and holy shit, it's just quick, it's fast, it's responsive. The actual fights are way more involved. Even just basic fucking enemies are more involved than just cannon fodder. Yeah, they can be easy to kill, but you still need to do certain things to make sure you get it done proper. And yeah, it's been fun to get back into. I'm typical, just MMO Andy. I also fucked with a little bit of the Call of Duty Vanguard beta.
Ooh.
Hot shit. It's terrible.
Oh,
it's
wow.
awful. It is garbage. I'm talking Sledgehammer's gotta go. You play Treyarch Call of Duty games. Now, while I'm not a huge fan of the Infinity Ward games, I recognize that people love them, and clearly Modern Warfare has been the Call of Duty for people. People love it. Shout out to Matt. And it's a good game. While it's not necessarily for me, that said, Treyarch still makes good ones. Treyarch still nails it with their Black Ops, I think. And then you have Sledgehammer rolling in here, looking like a bunch of glue eaters. They just cannot nail it to me. Their last one they did was World War II related. It missed the mark. Vanguard, I played for about 2 matches or so. And while I'd like to think of myself as a Call of Duty connoisseur, I'm a sommelier of Call of Duty games. Bro, it just does not feel right. Everything about it just feels like they copy pasted in all the worst ways from the past 3 iterations of games they've had. It's hard to really put a feel on it. It's just nothing is quite as tight as it usually is for a Call of Duty. It almost feels like a middle line between Battlefield and COD, and it just doesn't feel right. So yeah, that basically sums it up as far as me not getting Call of Duty this year. So Battlefield, please don't let me down. Thanks.
This is the rare occurrence where Battlefield was probably right to release a little later. Maybe people will see the reviews or see COD and be like,
I still don't understand why they went with World War II. I don't understand what market research was out there. Because clearly they're doing this, they do it on a 3-year cycle. So 3 years ago, was World War II even then still a hot fucking topic or a big commodity that people wanted?
They used to do it. Everyone admonished them in the 2010, the early 2000s, late 2000s, sorry, for doing only World War II. Everyone was sick of every game being World War II, and they're like, hey, it's been enough time. We could probably do a World War II game again, right? Everyone's gonna cheer. And then people were kind of like, was all right. And now they're on the cycle, so they're like, oh, whatever, maybe we'll try again.
You know, 3 years removed.
We already got the whatever the pieces, right? The assets. Fuck it.
I do think that's a big advantage that Battlefield does have is doing the near future, going up against a World War II game this year. I think they really lucked out by the fact that Call of Duty decided to go the World War II route.
100%.
Mike.
Oh, Josh, just one follow-up really quick. For Guild Wars, are you saying Guild Wars 2 has the best MMO combat out there on the market right now because New World hasn't come out on Tuesday yet?
Yeah, that's gotta be it.
Yeah, definitely, totally, sure.
No.
I'm joking because I know it's funny, but I actually really liked the New World combat. I'm pretty psyched for that weird MMO Dark Souls kind of thing.
What about the Black Desert crowd? They might be upset by your comment.
Black Desert is dope as fuck as combat goes. Unfortunately, the game is entirely pay to win. So fuck you, BDO.
It's our DokeV issue all over again, and the weird creepy children.
Yeah. DokeV has a couple issues going for it.
We're gonna get the haters on us again.
The dislikes pile up. You talk shit about DokeV.
How dare you?
Let's get the essay going in the comments again. All right, Mike, what did you play this week?
I don't know. I forgot. I played Deathloop because, I got the review coming out. I played a little bit more just to get B-roll, and it honestly probably hurt the review more than it helped. There's just some funny shit that happens in that game in terms of like bugs and shit, but it's fine. It's good. I got to play as Juliana. That was fun. I don't want to say too much. Basically, it's fun. It's really nice that they have like a whole game mode dedicated to doing invasions, and there's progression tied to it. It's really boring that you have to sit there in a menu and queue and do nothing else. Like, I want to say that the invasion system is better than Dark Souls because I feel like it is. A lot of people have been comparing it to that. However, in Dark Souls, you can go off and do other things while you're waiting to invade someone. Whereas this, you just sit in a menu and look at Juliana.
That's kind of weird.
Go through and change her outfits, I guess, if you have the outfits unlocked, which I don't.
Can you play Snake or something while you're waiting?
Yeah, you can play games on your phone while you're waiting. That's an option.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we have our phone. Like, don't you all have phones?
Yeah, don't you all have phones?
Stay in the loading screen. You got your phone.
Play some Diablo Immortal while you're waiting.
Fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being kind of a spoil sport to Colt and probably making some people really upset that I ended their loop. It's kind of
I love that.
Really satisfying.
Yeah.
You'll see in the review, hopefully by the end of this week. I think it's a good game. I wanted to give a shout out to Ozioma Akaga because her voice acting is peak.
That's
if she's not on the Game Awards for Best Voice Acting, then I'm going to be very, very shocked.
Is that Juliana?
Is it the Juliana voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
She's so good. Yeah, she's really good from everything I've seen. Really, really. She that really sets the tone and the whole setting for everything.
Oh yeah. She also voiced Alex Vance, so she knows what she's doing. But yeah, I played a little bit of that just to get B-roll. I got through 2 more loops. You'll see in the review. It's a really easy game, right up Matt's alley.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Catching strays over here. All right.
What else have I played? I played a little bit of Honey, I Joined a Cult.
Nice.
It's funny. It's okay. It's mainly just funny. Didn't really touch much of it other than went through the tutorial. I played a lot of this game called Wilder Myth.
Heard of that?
It's like D&D kind of, but like you're in a storybook and you start off with 3 characters and then your characters write their own story essentially. sometimes you can choose relationships for them. Some of them might just happen to fall in love. All these affect combat during the main story missions. Really good game. Would recommend if you're looking for a D&D like game but don't want to pay the full price for like a Pathfinder. That or Celesta I would recommend. I played a lot of that last week. Potion Craft came out yesterday, so I bought it and it's been staring me in the face, and I am not touched it until I finish this review, because if I start it, I won't stop. And then in my pastime, I've been playing play a little bit of Spider-Man Miles Morales because I still haven't beaten it, and I played a lot of Dead by Daylight this week.
Mike just with a
Probably too
buffet
much.
of games this week.
Ton of games,
Actually,
ton of
Yeah,
games.
pretty much.
Very
Pretty
nice,
much.
very nice.
That's honestly most of my weeks is a buffet of games. I
Yeah.
just try to keep it short, at least for this. Oh, and Diablo 2 Resurrected came out, and I bought it, and I played through the first quest, and then was like, okay, get back to recording. So
It officially came out.
Mhm.
Oh, for some reason I didn't think it came out yet. I thought it was like,
came out today.
okay, cool, all right.
Came out today, and the online wasn't working. So
Oh well, that makes sense.
Error 37, baby, we're back again.
yeah.
We'll get the IT guy to look at it. Oh, sorry, he's on a cube crawl right now. We'll try to page him.
I will say this: it is literally Diablo 2, and I couldn't be happier.
Good stuff. Hopefully they can find that IT guy, and hopefully they don't have to fire him when he gets back. All right.
Fire him after he fixes the problem.
Yeah. That's all good corporations do.
All right, let's play The Score is Right. In The Score is Right, I give our panelists a video game title. They have to give me their best estimate for its Metacritic score based on the best scoring platform upon initial release. In this minigame, we use Price is Right rules, meaning the one who is closest to the correct score without going over will win. We'll play 9 rounds, rotating the order in which our 3 panelists make their guesses for each round. The panelist with the most close guesses at the end wins. We take game title suggestions from The Score is Right from our $1 plus supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs, where you can message us your suggestion.
Oh, that value.
We missed it last week.
$1.
Missed it.
Just $1.
$1, Bob.
All right. We ready? We'll go the
I was
usual.
born ready.
Oh. Actually, you know what? We're going to reverse the order this time. We'll go Paul, Josh, Mike. So Josh is still in the old middle position.
Yeah, I'm used to it, don't worry.
That's where he belongs.
All right. Paul, first guess for Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption. Okay, I am going to say 86.
Josh.
88.
89.
What is?
The score, 95.
Well, shit.
Man.
That was a brutal one.
All right.
Playing dirty today, I guess.
Game number 2.
I knew it was higher than 88.
I don't know. It was like, when was it? 10 years ago. I'm checked out.
They've released so many GTA 5s at this point.
Yeah.
I forgot Rockstar's even a thing.
Yeah.
All right, now we got Josh, then Mike, then Paul. Game number 2 is The Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings.
I ain't got a fucking clue. 85. Probably way high.
76.
77.
Yeah, I'm way
Wow.
88.
Let's go.
88. People liked The Witcher 2. That's what kind of.
I know, it was like the
mainstream.
breakout, right? Yeah, but I just
Yeah.
didn't know if it got the score, but okay.
Game number 3. We'll start with Mike this time. Age of Empires 3.
Wait, which one?
What do you mean?
Which one?
Just Age of Empires 3, the initial release.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
one from like early 2000s.
I don't think 3 came out in the early 2000s.
I think it was like mid 2000s.
Yeah.
I'm at such a
Age of
disadvantage
Empires
here.
3, Age of Kings.
No, Age of Empires 2
That
was
one?
Age of Kings.
Yeah,
Oh, is
Age of
it?
Empires 3 came out 2005.
What are these fucking Kingdom Hearts games?
Age of
See,
Kings
this
was
is why I need to know because I'm like, I
AoE
played.
2 was Age of Kings. So if you remember Age of Kings, that was AoE 2.
Okay. Which one was Age of Empires 3? Was that
It
It was the one that
colonization?
it was the one that
wasn't.
followed Age of Empires 2 and the one that came out before
Wait.
what's Age of Empires 4, which is coming out
Age
soon.
of Empires 4, yeah. It's somewhere in the middle between 2 and 4.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah. 3 was the colonization one that I hated. I'm gonna go with like 67.
I'm going to go with 71.
Fuck it. 73.
You fucking...
Easy one for
Frank.
Josh.
81.
Look,
81.
Well, I've never played an Age of Empires game, so I just kind of had to
God
easy
damn,
crap
That
that.
was bad.
It was bad.
Age of
It's
Empires-
famously like the worst one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's so bad.
It's really, really bad. Yeah. I don't
I
know
don't know
why
why
I
they
got
were,
goddamn
like-
81. Yeah.
Here,
was-
have
it
some,
pretty much-
have some cards in your RTS.
It killed the
and I'm just like,
it killed the
what?
franchise. There wasn't
Yeah.
there hasn't been 4 till now. Till
Yeah.
in a couple weeks.
That's why I was
Yeah.
like, wait, which one is this?
Yeah.
I never played 3 just because of the backlash,
Yeah.
but I played the shit out of Age of Empires 2.
Oh yeah, and I was a big Age of Mythology guy. Oh, that was my
Oh
shit.
yes, I have it
That
on my
was the
computer
shit.
right now.
Yeah.
Next game, Overlord.
We were just talking about that on replay the other day.
Yeah,
man.
it has similar mechanics to Kana. With
In the
the,
sense that
the
you, like,
minions.
you control little minions around, and yeah.
What the fuck is Overlord?
It's like Pikmin.
Dude, get on my 2008
Oh,
level,
demons.
dude.
Are we
Pigmen
on-
but demons.
Are we on Paul?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
No, Paul went. Paul, did you go first last
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, it's me first.
Oh,
this
it's
time.
you.
It's me
Okay,
first
I
this
couldn't
time.
remember.
Yeah, so it is gonna be. I'm going to go for Overlord with an 81.
Oh, A7.
77.
I forget what it's called when somebody gets the exact guess.
That
But-
is a. No, it's not, I was gonna say a true daily double. It's not.
What is it called? The Price is Right when someone gets the exact price right.
I think they just say you guess the exact retail price. I think it's all
You
they
did
say.
it.
Oh, well, Paul, you got the exact retail score.
Incredible.
81.
Thank you very
81.
much. Thank you
You
very
got
much.
no bonus points for that.
No, you get nothing
we
extra,
should
yeah.
we should do bonus point. We should do an extra
Yeah.
bonus point.
You get a base model Hyundai Elantra. Congratulations.
Oh
Here's
my
your taxes.
Here's your
Yeah.
taxes. Good luck selling it. We will sue you. I don't know if that's the case, but that would be funny.
Next
Bob
game.
Barker takes no fucking
Does it
interest.
come with the model? Get the fuck out of here, dude. You gotta get
You gotta go, dude.
You gotta go. What are you, Mike Richards, the executive producer of Price is Right? Get out of here, dude. Anyone's been following the Jeopardy drama? No? Anyone following the
no.
Oh, love
Yeah.
it.
A little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what's up. All right.
All right, next game
For
is
a clip for cliff notes, I'll just say the executive producer of Jeopardy hired himself as the new host of Jeopardy after Alex Trebek died, and then it turns out he was like sexually harassing women on The Price is Right when he was the executive producer there and at Jeopardy, and he's just like kind of a weird, creepy dude. So he got fired from Jeopardy as the host and now the executive producer. So yeah.
Blizzard. If you need a new host for BlizzCon,
Oh my god, that's great.
Wow.
all right. Next game is Jack 3.
Mm.
Come on, Josh, coming out. You better know this exactly. I'll be
I
shocked.
saw this last week.
84.
Trying to remember the score.
Come on, recall.
It's using his superpowers right now. I'm just some pleb.
81.
Oh man, what the fuck am I supposed to do here? Like I could try to like use Mike's recall and fuck him over, but at the same time too, like I'm gonna say I really don't think it's worth this much, but I'm gonna go ahead and say 85 just to try to win the pack out here.
Ding, 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 ding. Someone got the exact score again.
If it's Mike, I'm gonna flip my shit.
84.
Hey, let's go, boys!
Oh.
Dude, I knew I was gonna say Josh better fucking knows dead on, and you did. You did. You are still the true Jack master, I tell you.
What can I say? I'm really great at Jack. Even though
You just spent a lot of time jacking it as a kid. Right?
I really jacked it a whole lot on PlayStation 2.
That's like call when you're really big into Jack and Daxter.
It was really easy to actually to jack it as well because they put it on the PS Vita as well. So
What
you
if you jack it on the
in the
go?
You could jack it in the bathroom. It was great.
In the school bus, on the school bus. You know what? I was gonna say
the very
wasn't it an ocelot? So you could, if you're kind of jacking the ocelot when you're playing that game, right?
I pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next game is Saints Row 2.
Oh, the good one.
Oh boy. See, I only started Saints Row on the 3rd, so
That's a
too.
shame.
So did I. So did
Me
I.
too.
uh
We're all fucked.
78.
Bro,
have
the
no idea.
anticipation was killing me.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 83.
We're gonna go 87.
82.
Look at it go, just above.
Curse you!
We got Cumstered and Dumpstered, Paul. It's just
All
the way it
right.
goes.
You see, I only we all started on 3, but I knew that 2 was like widely known as like the good one.
That's why I went
was trying to
higher.
think of a score for that. Yeah.
All right, last 3 games here. Last full round. Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction.
I don't remember what that shit was.
Mercenaries, bro. We need it
Is
back.
this like the OG Mercenaries?
Yeah, the original Mercenaries.
All right,
my
I'm gonna go
God.
ahead and say, I don't know, 77.
83.
Why have you done this to me?
So you guys said me earlier. It's a
We took
terrible-
the good numbers and Mike's just
Fuck
stuck
you,
with the
Josh.
shit numbers.
84.
You bitch. You bitch.
86.
God damn.
Hey.
Whoa!
I knew it was in the 80s.
Fantastic video game. I love
Loved it.
that game so much.
remember the name, but I
Groundbreaking
know nothing.
destruction technology. All right, next game. James Cameron's Avatar, the game.
Oh my god.
Well, if we're judging it by the movie, well then, no, because
What
this is
the
Josh. This
fuck?
is you, man.
The
$1.
score should be like Pocahontas, the game. You did $1.
Heyo.
$1. So long as no one screws me and goes 2 or 3, and y'all just have it. I'm going $1.
All right.
Interesting
That's
strategy.
that's a really terrible strategy. That's a terrible strategy.
Can't go 2, because if I go
It's the worst
2,
for Mike. Yeah.
3.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
Mike's
better doing it as the first person than the
The
second person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're really just screwing over the second person.
The middle person. Yeah.
I mean, I'll go 50.
All right. Okay. I will go 51.
The actual score, 61.
Ah, shit.
That's fine. Paul was behind anyways.
Yeah, I was way behind. What's the score right now?
3-3-2.
Okay.
Paul is-
So I can tie it, or I can make a 3-way tie, or we'll get a winner.
All right. The final game, James Cameron's Dark Angel.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Go away.
What the hell is that?
What is
Hello,
that?
game. James
I don't
Cameron's
even know.
Titanic.
I didn't know it existed before today, but you type in Avatar on Metacritic, and then James Cameron's Dark Angel came up as well. So
Is that a movie that they made a game of? I haven't even heard of the movie.
Dark Angel was a TV series, I think.
Okay.
It's
Is it like Angel? Is it like Angel?
What the fuck?
Was Jason
Like
Boreanaz involved in any way?
I like how they just put James Cameron name by it, like it's supposed to mean
Yeah.
like Tom Clancy or some shit.
Oh, that was the Jessica Alba TV show.
Can
Oh,
you
boy.
describe the game for me?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to make a guess.
Look, just base it off James Cameron.
Check.
There you go.
Can I get a definition?
No definitions for
say-
you.
You know what? $1.
He's doing it again.
Just to get back at Josh. Well, actually, it's getting back at me this time. I'm gonna go ahead and say 67.
55.
48.
Hey.
The $1 worked.
The $1 worked.
Jesus, I'm sure that was a fantastic game. Not a doubt in my mind, it was great.
48. I gotta look up both these things after the show.
What
I'm
is
very excited.
Good work, Mike. Good work.
Thanks. That's 3 game wins.
Ooh,
Oh, here we
wow.
go.
You're great. Doing great.
All right, let's move on to audience questions. Every week, we address 2 or 3 audience questions, comments, or concerns. We take questions from our supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. Leave your questions in the comments section of the previous episode's post. The $1 tier will get you access to question submissions. We also take submissions at Game...
Oh!
We also take submissions
Wonderful.
at gamegroofs@gmail.com. And in the YouTube comments, but our patrons will always receive priority. Someone please, for the love of God, write us a question. All right.
Here's the thing, Matt. Here's what I don't understand. It's only $1. That I can't. The value of getting us to read their questions, our superb panel of gentlemen here, and they wouldn't even give us a fucking buck.
An email's free.
Yeah,
An email is free.
comment.
So you're like, oh, by the way, that you're like, pay us $1 on Patreon, or honestly, a free email will do it. But we still want the buck, dude.
Or just comment in the YouTube on the YouTube video, and
we'll take
yell at us
anything.
on the street. Anything.
Just write a question on Reddit, not addressed to us at all, and we'll just answer it on our show, unrelated.
Should start grabbing questions from Ask Reddit.
We'll take anything. Then we'll be like every other radio show or podcast in the world. So,
all right, this first question comes in from James Cameron.
Jesus Christ.
He asks, "What's the best story you've ever played through in a game?" Paul, what's the best story you've ever played through in a game?
for my money, Dark Angel the game actually had the
James Cameron is known for his legendary stories, after all.
Actually voiced and mocapped by Jessica Alba, which is insane that it got a 48. I don't know. Honestly, I have a bad. I thought about this for a long time, and I had a lot of trouble thinking of, as we just went through me talking about not having a great AAA gaming repertoire. But I will say, I don't know, probably Spider-Man. I'm replaying it right now. I love that game. PS4 Spider-Man. I'm having a great time. It feels like you're Spider-Man, but it feels like you're playing through a comic story. You know, the little touches, like him staying awake for like 3 nights in a row and like starting to get drowsy, and like multiple dudes, like bad guys, just coming out of the woodwork constantly, and just kind of making for this like terrible experience for Spidey. I really like it. It feels a lot less like a movie than like a lot of the older games felt like, and feels a lot like a comic story, like a multi-issue arc. And so yeah, I love that. I love that game. I love that story, and I also think Miles Morales is a great game and better in some way, like in gameplay. But I think the story with Peter is bar none for sure, and I'm very excited for Spidey 2.
Now, do you swap around suits a bunch, or do you typically stay in one suit? What do you do?
When I played the first time, and even maybe the second time, I spent a lot of time in the Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider suit. With the red and the blue and the hoodie. I like it's kind of like, that fun of the homemade suit, but not looking so janky.
Right.
And I have a lot of fun with that one, but now I swap a lot. At this point, I'm primarily, anytime it's nighttime, I wear the like the green feature, or I think it's Future Force or whatever, like the big time, the black with the green
Nice.
light. I really, really love at night.
Yeah.
And in daytime, I'll just switch out to all kinds of different stuff, but yeah, it's a blast.
Mike, what's the best story you've ever played through in a game?
Well, Paul stole my answer, so
no way.
The Dark Angel.
Dark Angel is a great game. I'm gonna say Mass Effect with an asterisk of not the main storyline.
Oh.
I really like the Genophage storyline. I think it's top tier. I wish it was just the main focus of the game, because the main storyline becomes abysmal at the end of 3. You could tell where EA got their executive hands on some parts of the game.
Mm-hmm.
God, I can't even remember the guy's name, but like the main human antagonist, Kai. I think it's Kai.
Kai Lang?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I don't know why he needed
terrible.
to be in the story at all. He was just there because he was Ninja Man, and that's cool, I guess. I don't know why he was in the story. He was annoying. Anyways, I digress. Solus Morden's story is amazing. I love the way that it's tied together with Rex's story and the entire Genophage plot. In general, I think it's the most interesting. I think it's the most morally gray, and actually feels like there's some weight to the decision that you have to make. And if you choose to have Morden die, it's even sadder. So
don't do it.
That's my pick. There's other great storylines in that game, but I think that one's probably my favorite.
Josh,
So I mean, Mass Effect is a given, but I thought Mike was going to do it, so I had a second lined up. Probably Fallout New Vegas. To me, whereas Fallout New Vegas like lacks in other areas where it beats out Bethesda's Fallouts, is that it has all these factions that war and fight with each other, but throughout the entirety of these factions fighting and warring with each other, it still manages to tell a cohesive story and show you every single side of every single faction for the most part. And most of the time, their stories are pretty damn interesting. Not only that, the whole overarching story of the Battle of the Dam, Caesar's Legion, the NCR, Mr. House, Yes Man, all these different approaches you can take and like actually affect the game in a pretty big way, depending on whatever choice your character wants to make, while still enjoying like a really good story, is just, to my mind, it hasn't been rivaled in any Fallout yet, or prior to. I just think it's done it the best, and it's a shame we probably won't get another one like that. So yeah, I'll have to give it to New Vegas. If I have to take one specific storyline of the factions, I would probably have to give it to Mr. House, or Yes Man, mainly just because Yes Man, you can go through and literally choose which like faction you want to have join you. If you just want all the gamblers, like all the big casino houses on your side, you can do that and just be this army of fucking gamblers and Securitrons, and that's like cool as shit. But yeah, I'd have to give it to probably the Mr. House specific storyline in Fallout New Vegas if we're going that specific on it.
I was gonna say too, I think it's like such a breath of fresh air in New Vegas, coming from like I first played Fallout with 3, like a lot of people did.
Yeah.
To come from that where there's this karma system of good/bad, evil versus angel, and going then to playing New Vegas where it's like not karma based, but like faction or reputation based, was so much better. Alone, that was already one of the better role playing aspects that they added and opened up so much.
It's honestly surprising they even put karma in New Vegas to begin with. It did basically nothing.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Good picks. Well,
Matt, what is your favorite story in the game?
I'm sure this panel is going to love this answer, but it's probably The Witcher 3. Specifically,
that's a good answer.
Specifically, the Bloody Baron quest line. I mean,
it's fucking great.
Just a fantastic contained story within that.
That's where I quit the other day. Was halfway through the Bloody Baron storyline.
It's just, I can't. Okay, well, that hurts my soul.
It's so good.
Wait, is that DLC?
Kind of grim.
Is that the DLC?
All right, I'm gonna give
the Noon Wraith. After the Noon Wraith, so I think so.
I'm gonna give another answer just as a secondary pick here.
RDR2.
It is Red Dead Redemption 2. Arthur Morgan's story with Dutch and his gang and John Marston afterwards. Spoilers for Red Dead 2, but if you haven't played it at this point, I don't know what you're doing. Amazing story, like genuinely stands amongst books, TV, all that kind of stuff. Witcher 3, it's kind of a cheap pick because that world and characters and all that has already been created. These are original stories, like the Bloody Baron is an original story within the Witcher, but I will go with Red Dead 2 just because I think that just shows you the potential for stories in video games, and it is truly an amazing game and an amazing narrative within that game. All right, this next question comes from Anthony Stark. Not Tony Stark, but Anthony.
Fair.
What's your favorite gaming controller and why? I'll go first just to get mine out of the way here. I could definitely see it becoming the DualSense eventually. Josh was ready for that. It's not the DualSense quite yet. It probably eventually will be. But for now, it's probably the DualShock 4. If I'm being completely honest. I love the size of the DualShock 4. I love the weight. I love the placement of the sticks. I just think that the DualShock 4 is a perfect controller up until that point in technological history. The DualSense, I just feel like it's a little bit too big, but I'll get used to it. Mike, what about you?
God, I'm still reeling over this DualSense.
I know, I'm with you.
Sticks aren't in the right place. Anyways,
yeah.
It's fine.
I'm gonna actually go a little off script here and say the Valve Index controllers.
Oh.
Hey, all right.
Those are amazing. I got them a little bit, probably 2 years after I got my Vive, and I mean they're incredible. I did not play through all of Half-Life Alyx because once you go down into the subways, fuck that. I'm out. Dealing with that.
You want to hang out with Jeff?
Scared. But yeah, no, it's they're really cool. They're great technology. I wish we could get an Index 2 with Index controllers too, maybe even more haptic features, more feedback on your fingers. I mean, it still does an amazing job. The fact that it can like track my thumb movement when there's nothing that I can see that should be tracking it is incredible. So that's my pick.
Josh.
I mean, Xbox Andy. I mean, I'm going to give it, I'd say, okay, look, the Xbox 360 was great. Here's the downside, though. It had the fat ass battery pack. You take out the battery pack, the Xbox 360 probably takes this because for all it's worth, it's the best. That said, battery pack knocks it out of the run and get out of here. Xbox 360 battery pack was big as shit. Why you got a ball sack on your controller? Get it out of there. Gone. Remove it. That Xbox One controller. I mean, it just iterated on the Xbox 360 controller. It doesn't have the battery pack. It fits super well. And it's a little bit bigger, but if for my small little tiny hands here, that's no fun. But really, it's actually a great controller. Honorable mention though, gotta give credit to the DualShock 4 because it's good. Like, I mean, coming from now, mind you, I call it good because the controller before it was so bad. If you held it and moved your thumbs in, your thumbs would kiss. Like, it was just awful. You shot with the bumpers in Call of Duty. What drunk ass motherfucker came up with this shit? It was terrible. Like, that's why they iterated on it so much better. It has to get an honorable mention. They said, okay, this is terrible. Let's move along and do something else here.
I also really, really do like the Xbox One controller. Paul, your pick.
Xbox One controller, baby. This is my favorite controller in the world. Have a visual. The sticks are in the right place. As Mike said, this is how your hand should sit on a controller. This is exactly right for every purpose. Because this is 90% of where I spend my time.
I don't love offset sticks anymore. I don't know.
You're wrong. Here's the thing. I could maybe my problem with the DualShock 4 is not offset sticks. I don't like them. I prefer them. Oh, sorry. I prefer them offset. I don't like them the way they have them on the DualShock 4. But that's not my biggest problem. It's too small. I think the DualSense made me want to use a PS5 controller a lot more, not because of the DualSense features, but the shape of that looked like something that would fit really well in my hands. It actually looked more comfortable. I haven't tried it. It looks more comfortable or in the same realm as the One controller. I like the long handles, and it just seems like something I'll really enjoy holding when I eventually do get a hold of a PS5 one day down the line. But yeah, but the Xbox controller to me with the offset sticks is so perfect. I love it. The Series controller looks even better, just nice refinements, cleaning it up. I really like it. Yeah. I like the way I follow, I like the way that they initially had this weird like cutout for on the original Xbox One. They came out with these ones where it indents and now it's just totally flush. I really like that they've kind of worked on that, and it's always kind of felt like it's in line with what industrial design is right now for that. And I really, really like that. Honorable shout out to the N64 controller. It's so good they're remaking it. It's my first controller on a system as a kid. It made me wonder, what the fuck is this? How gaming's supposed to work? Why are there 3 sticks when I only have 2 hands? And like everyone else, I only used 2 of them. I didn't understand what the C stick was or how it worked, and I recently played Super Mario 64 on an emulator. I'm like, oh, you can control the camera. You can control it. That's cool. Because as a kid, I was like, what? It's only I can't go over here. So yeah, it's an honorable mention to that.
All right. My honorable mention for the worst is the Nintendo 3DS. My hands cramp up within 5 minutes of using that thing. I wish
you don't like that little nubby little stick. The nubby stick.
That's not my issue. It's just like the placing of the buttons. Like my hands cramp up immediately. It's
That's
crazy.
my worry about the Switch, honestly.
no-
But getting a Switch is I'm worried my hands are going to cramp too much. I feel like I'm going to have to get one of
They
those
won't.
awkward, dorky like grips or something to not make my hands cramp.
So the thing with like the Switch compared to the 3DS had like no ergonomics at all built in.
Just like a
where
flat,
the
really
Switch-
thin, flat surface.
The Switch controllers are really they're really light, and they do have some ergonomics to them, and they kind of just fit in your palm if you use them as Joy-Cons. I hate them in the little when you slide it into the gamepad.
Weird little,
It's not
I
good.
hate them.
Yeah.
It's so bad. I'm
Yeah.
like, who designed this? It pinches
So
my
scuffed.
fingers in places. It's really bad. But yeah, as Joy-Cons, they're great. I
Well,
also
but
want to point
my
out,
worry is like having like holding it like portable where they're on the side. I feel
It
like my
works
fingers
fine.
won't
It
have like
really
anywhere to
does.
indent.
it works fine.
Okay.
It works fine. Yeah. Surprisingly, it works pretty well because there's a shoulder on it similar to this where your fingers can just rest like this. So it works okay. But I wanted to point out because I think this is a huge plus, and I will give a shout out to the DualSense for having this as well. USB-C is amazing.
Oh, USB-C is
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's at.
Micro USB is awful. Jesus, those
Oh, it's
cords
brutal.
last for about a month, and then it's like, all right, throw it out the door, get you a new one, be gone.
Well, may I interest you in a lightning cable for your troubles?
No.
I also just
Absolutely
want to
not.
say because no one said it, and I think it's worth mentioning here. Hey, look at that! Look at those long sticks. I love it.
No, it's so much better.
For the record, we're holding game controllers.
We're holding with our thumbs.
Before
Some of us,
yes,
anyways.
of course. We're Jak'n the Daxter. I will say one last thing is honorable shout out to the Xbox Elite controller. I know they're busted as hell and they're way too expensive, and I'm not going to drop $150 on something that is going to break. But I had a buddy who was willing to do that, and it's the best thing I've ever held. The weight is so heavy and good. It's just a little bit bigger, so your hands don't kind of like curl in as much. You have back paddle things. That is just the best controller I've ever used. And I wish they could figure out a way to make like an $80 version that maybe like isn't as quite as nice, but like is a little bit, I don't know, something between that and the current Xbox controller, because I just like that feel so much. And make it work. Make it work.
Yeah.
It doesn't break easily. Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah.
Special shout out to the Switch Pro controller. Very underrated.
It's like 3 hours later. Special shout out to
All right.
I actually love all the
GameCube controller.
No, I know there's a lot of fans of that, but not really for me.
Yeah, big shout out to the Duke. I built my house with it.
Yeah.
I love
Big
that
shout out to the
controller.
Genesis controller. Curvy. First curvy one.
Oh,
Nothing
God.
wrong with being a little curvy, okay?
That's true.
I do love with the NES controller. They're just like, it's a rectangle. It's a fucking rectangle. So there's 2 buttons and that's all you get. So fuck
We're
it.
automatically doing it.
Honestly, though, the DualShock 2 was pretty sick. Like I really
Honestly, shout out to Mad Cats.
no fucking get out of here with that shit.
So I know it's a peripheral, but Ring Fit, the ring.
Oh, the
Shout out
ring's
to
really cool.
Shout out to Nintendo Labo if you want to, do something with your pizza box after you're done with it instead of recycling it.
All right, shout out to Move
Well, you are
Controllers. All right.
recycling it.
We're going to move on. We're going to end the show here with the roast. We're going to end this week's show with a short roast. I'm going to give the panel a game or franchise. In this case, it's neither of those. It is I don't even know what you call this one at this point. A massive company.
Game or a franchise, or in this case,
company.
not at all. So okay.
And they're going to give it a one-line roast. They may love this company, but now is the time to end it with a knockout punch. Welcome to the roast of Valve. Paul, let's hear your roast.
Okay, one line. Sorry, I got a little confused. I had a bit going on here. So, just first off, I just want to say, shout out to good guy Valve. A lot of people aren't really big fans of monopolies, but you can send Gabe an email and he'll send you a funny response. So we have that going on. On the flip side too, shout out to Valve because they've really helped proliferate and get more indie games out in the market. And, all they take is like 30-40% of the earnings. So that's always good. And also I had a third roast, but I asked Valve to write it. And so
All right, well, I'll play along with yours there. At this point, I think Half-Life 3 is all the friends that we've made along the way. Mike, your roast.
Well, it's been so long since Valve has, made a video game. They've now become like this Amazon for games. Now Amazon's making games. So I think it's time for Valve to start selling things. And what better than plumbing equipment?
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
I love it. And all you have to do is wait in a line for a year and a half, and you might be picked to be able to buy a Valve.
Josh, your roast.
Valve reminds me of my father. He left before I turned 3 and never came back.
Wow.
Much better version of my roast. All right, thank you so much for joining us here on the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs. Now, if you really like the show, we encourage you to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where we currently have 3 different tiers available. And you can also
I was going to say 3 Patreons, and I was about to get excited.
Well, maybe. Any and all support is greatly appreciated, and will go a long way in improving everything here at the Goodnight Groofs. The $3
everything,
everything,
including my jokes. Will those get improved if we get
well,
some money?
it can't fix that.
A joke writer for me.
The $3 plus tier will get you access to this show 2 days early. A special shout out to all of our patrons currently supporting us in the $5 plus tier, Ishmael S. and Rachel S. A round of applause, please.
Round of applause. The value on that $5 tier.
They recognize that value. It's time that you, listener, you recognize it as well. We also ask that you take a couple minutes to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a like and comment on the YouTube video. Everything helps. Everything helps. Make sure to check out goodnightgroofs.com for all of our content, where you'll find the blog, GG Replay, this podcast, and more coming soon. We teased it at the beginning. More is coming soon. Guys, any last thoughts?
Sell all your assets, leave your family, move to another country.
That'll do it for us here today. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Take care, everyone.